Right, I'm started recording. The nails look good.
Thanks, they're fresh.
Yeah, they look fresh. I took all mine off, and they're so fucking brittle. They keep breaking. Oh my god.
Were you doing SNS or the gels?
No, acrylic.
Oh.
So you can see that they're all very, very small, which makes typing easier. But I was filing them, and I put it down, and for the life of me, I cannot figure out where I've put the file. That's all right. I'll find it.
What?
My nail file. Like I was in the middle of filing my nails, and then I obviously put it down, and then got no idea what I've done with it. The reason I'm still here is, well, the universe likes to make you learn stuff. A number of different things happened, and the reason I'm still here is because I finally got a dash cam. So I wanted to buy a dash camera, and then I started researching, and there's a lot of dash cameras, like so many. I researched through heaps. Yeah, it's just right. Safety for starters. So that's.
It's like it's doing this jiggle thing on the bottom.
Yeah.
You want me to put something heavy on it?
No, it's fine. I was just trying to get me in it instead of most of the roof. That's all. So I was looking at all the different cameras, and I found one that told me school zones, railway crossing, speed cameras, all of it, right? It didn't want to stay there, did it? She just threw her jacket on a chair and it fell off. Anyway, I had to go to the mechanic to get, so I bought the dash camera, but because I'm sleeping in my car, and because it's going to have all the luggage in it, it turns out, as reading the descriptions, there was a smart box that you could buy to have installed so it connects to the battery, and it means it will work while the car's turned off. Yeah. So I did all of that, and nobody at my mechanic checked it, because obviously I was told it was all compatible when I bought it. And the port for the smart box didn't match the camera, and it turned out that it was obviously old stock, because all the new ones have the adapter in it. So the long and short of it is, I had to call Navman and get it all sent out, right? So it's arrived, and now my neighbour Andrew just helped me connect it all and set it up, so that's done.
Okay.
Which is cool.
So it's safety for while you're out sleeping.
Yeah.
On the way.
Yeah.
Basically.
Plus, it's got an app and all this stuff.
It's like a security camera for your house, but it's your car.
Yeah, and of course, I can also use the footage on my website if I want to for my trip.
Oh.
Because it's all accessible by an app, right?
Is it outside or inside the car?
Inside the car.
So
it's right behind the rearview mirror. Which I was saying out the front, I was saying it's interesting because I got it for all the different technique, the different stuff it's got. And I was driving here, and obviously I was listening to Rocky Horror. And I know, right? And it was only half volume too, right, mind you. And I could hear the camera say something, but I couldn't hear it quite right. And I realised it was telling me there were speed cameras coming. But obviously I can't see the camera because it's right behind the mirror, which is obviously good for no distractions and things like that.
So it doesn't have a screen.
It does. Oh no, it has a screen, but where it's positioned, I can't see the screen. It's behind the mirror.
Yeah.
And I was saying out front to her, that I have seen people when I'm driving have them on the side, but it would be much more distracting that way.
Yeah.
And if I'm driving,
but it's a Navman, so it'll also give you directions, I guess.
No, it's different. It's not like that. It's an actual just dash camera.
Yeah, it would be distracting.
But if I'm driving at night too, the light as well, and that's another thing Andrew said. But
yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Yes. But anyway, it's done, so that's good.
Okay.
Juice is coming tomorrow before work. He was going to come today, but he had a family thing on to put the roof storage up. Because of all this that happened, I ended up unpacking all of my clothes because I was just overthinking, running out of stuff to wear. So I unpacked everything. But in the last couple of days, I've just had these massive revelations come through. Like the end of last week is just so many things have happened within me. So I realize if it fits in my car and I use it, then I take it. Why am I second guessing everything? That was crazy, I realized. And one of the really big revelations I've had, minus totally changed subject, is I no longer want to go back to university. So I had the original thought, I think it was on Wednesday, and it hit me, and when it hit me, it was just instant. I knew it was the right decision. I'm deferring at least for a year. I don't even want to look at it until 2025. At the time of that revelation, I thought to myself, do I really plan to go back at all? And then on, I think it was Friday, I had the revelation that really hit me. Uni, for whatever reason, makes me feel like I can't do this properly. It's this weird inner fear barrier that constantly makes me feel like, you know, something might happen and might lose everything. I don't know why.
Friday. It's Monday.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to decide right now.
No, I don't. So
you have until census to decide about deferral, and you have then a year or two to decide.
Well, that's exactly it.
Because
I'm already accepted, so that's what I'm going to do, just defer. But
you're still going to download all the things because you like to learn?
I've already done that for all 4 of them for this trimester and enrolled. I must admit I am still enrolled for trimester 3 because it's for social media content, and I figure may as well get that.
May as well.
But after that I'll just defer completely. Okay. Intermit or whatever it is. And
then decide later.
Well, yeah, but honestly,
no one ever decides what they want to be when they grow up at the time.
Well, I'm being what I want to be. So the thing is, I've always talked about storytelling.
And who you are now will not be the same as you are in 20 years.
No, God, no. You should see some of my posts I've written.
What you decide to do today, you can always make different changes later.
Well, absolutely.
Different changes, different choices.
Decisions. Yeah, no, I get that. Because what I want to do more than anything else is vlog live.
So my strong suggestion then is to live it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I've had this irrational fear when it comes to vlogging live regarding everything else, like heaven forbid. Someone at the dog park once said to me, you'd go live for the wrong reasons, yeah? And you'd go viral for the wrong reasons, which I laughed at the time, and I think that, but there has been this irrational fear for so many different things affecting my family, my mum finding out, university, anything that I think could go wrong has been playing on it. Whereas these videos are made as if they're live. I don't watch any of them before I upload them. Even these videos, I upload them and write, this is my therapy session. I can't wait to see it, but I still won't watch it until it's live. Do you know what I mean? Because it doesn't work for me otherwise. Yeah? And I don't have to worry about my family anymore because I don't know if you got the email that I wrote. I'm guessing no, because I didn't hear from you, which is cool. Because as soon as I wrote it, it would instantly, you know me, I feel better as soon as I get stuff out. And I'd been sharing to my camera and talking to my friends, but I was in a bad state for a couple days and emailing you just to get it out. And I didn't even actually go into detail about any of it. Just helped. And if I needed to talk to you, I would have called or something, but I was fine.
Nothing since the 1st of Feb.
Weird. Okay, I don't know what that's about. Maybe I sent it to a random. I'll better check. Anyway, the last time I saw my mum, it went really bad.
Really?
Like so bad that thank fuck I had Elaine the same day, right? So last time I saw you, I thought I had a fucking wheel alignment problem. it turns out when I went 2 days later to drive to see my mum for the last time, which was meant to be the Wednesday, she left on Friday the 5th. So the 3rd, I had plans to see them for dinner.
Yeah.
And on Monday, I had seen you. Now, when I drove here, the wheel was doing weird stuff.
Yeah, you said.
Yeah. And I thought, well, I've driven over a lot of curbs. It's got to be that, right? When I drove back home from here, same thing. It got to the point where I turned the music off, wound the window down, and I could hear something, but I couldn't figure out what was going on. When I got home and parked, it was dark, and obviously I didn't leave the light on, and I walked around to the passenger side of my car and ran my hand all down the side of the car thinking something's wrong, but couldn't see anything. Didn't look at it at all on Tuesday.
Phone torch? No?
Didn't do that.
Anyway.
Went to leave on the Wednesday, flat tire. So I literally drove here and home on a flat tire. Unbelievably lucky that I didn't actually screw the tire up. Like, it was so flat, it was unbelievable. So I had to call my insurance company to get roadside out. And mind you, I thought this was the last time I was going to see Mum, because I kept saying to my sister, can you drive to me? You know, I'm going to be the one stuck in traffic. You're opposite traffic. Like, this has happened, but can you just come to me instead? And they wouldn't, and too late and too tired to drive, and I don't know. And I kept saying, well, I'm not going to make it. And it just kept getting later and later and later. And it was, by this point, there was for the roadside.
You're getting more and more frustrated.
Oh, I started to get upset, and I was holding it together for a while, but then I started getting really upset because I just wanted to see Mum so bad before she left. I just feel really ridiculous and like a child, but all I wanted was a big hug goodbye. Yeah. And I kept saying, this isn't going to happen. I feel bad, like I didn't know. Blaming myself for not checking earlier, all this stuff.
But big accidents happen. Like, you could have had an accident on the way there.
And they weren't mad. But then, I was like, can we please see each other tomorrow? My sister kept saying, we've got plans. And I'm like, Mum's leaving. This is an accident. Can I please come? Whatever the hell it is. Anyway, I had Elaine the Thursday afternoon at 3, and they're trying to say, can you change this, can you change that? And I'm like, no, that woman is so booked out, it's unbelievable. I have to wait a week anyway. So they agreed to meet me where we were going to meet the night before on the Thursday for lunch, for an early lunch, right? And obviously sometime Wednesday night, roadside had come out, changed all the tyre, everything was fine. I was lucky because I messaged my neighbour, not Andrew, but the other one who does my lawns, and was like, can you come pick up my bike now? Because he was going to wash it and take photos and advertise it.
That's right.
I was like, because obviously I was meant to be home, but now I'm not. So he came over at like 9:20. Mind you, I thought I was meeting them at 11, and I'd said 11 because I had to be at Elaine and I wanted to spend, time with my family. Anyway, we were getting the bike out, and we were talking about it, and we both looked back, and the spare was flat. And so, thankfully, he had a compressor, so he was able to pump the spare tyre back up. I drove straight to the tyre store, had it all fixed. There was a
So the second, so they fixed it, and another one.
The spare went flat, yeah.
Oh.
So I went to the tyre store, and the original tyre that I drove here and home on had a nail in it.
Goody.
So very lucky I didn't screw the car up, right?
Yeah.
The spare just went flat, they said, because that apparently happens when tyres haven't been used for a long time, so it was fine. Anyway, again, I messaged them saying, it's all done, it's all fixed, I'm still going to be there by 11.
I'm coming.
They didn't get there until past, just making me wait, right?
That's okay, things go wrong.
Mum had kept saying stuff like obviously I'm with my mum. I want to talk about real life stuff, like I'm leaving, I've got stuff happening, and I do that. And my mum had sort of been making comments about not always having to talk about stuff and just talking about superficial stuff like the weather. And I just didn't understand her. I was just like, I don't understand why I'd want to do that, yeah?
Let's think about it. Sometimes, why would people not want to talk about heavy things?
But it wasn't heavy. It was fun, good things.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe because they got too much. I don't know. I don't understand.
You want me to give you my opinion?
You're my therapist. Go for it.
I know, but opinions aren't part of therapy.
Well, I'd like your opinion.
Your
so yes.
mom and you have a tenuous relationship.
Hmm.
And over the years, taking you a long time to get to the point where talking about all the things in your life can happen. Like, it's been hard. It's very recent.
Yeah.
You and your sister, you and your mom, these are new things. And then
True.
she's going back. And how long is it going to be before you see her again?
Exactly.
So, talk about superficial things. Because saying goodbye.
I don't understand.
Saying goodbye is hard enough.
Okay.
Then talking about all the things she's not going to be here for.
Good point, I guess. True. That
You
kind
know,
of coincides with what my friend said, actually, because of what happened. I understand, I guess, in that point, because when they arrived, they pulled up next to me, so I told them where I parked. They got out, gave the kids a hug, mum a hug. They were hungry, I was hungry. Obviously, we were going for lunch, and I could tell, like, obviously, I straight away started filling my man about, juice coming and helping me and what's going on and when I'm leaving, because my leaving date has changed so many fucking times.
I'm going to tell you something.
Mm.
Personal disclosure time. You know that my family lived overseas. You can probably tell.
Mm.
Right? Okay. My family was recently here. I had a visit from my parent. And after we have lunch, the day that I say goodbye, it's done.
Oh, really?
That's it. Get by. There's no there's a period of time after you have, like, lunch is over, like you've eaten, to the point that you're saying goodbye. It's this really uncomfortable, like, storm cloud moment, because you know that the goodbye is coming. You fill the space with some superficial stuff, but you don't talk about what's going to happen here or there unless it's superficial and really not interesting, because everybody's already a little bit distracted.
So I just definitely live on a different planet.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't say yeah. Yeah. But for most people, the feeling of for a goodbye, like, you're very in the moment, Liv. Everybody, not everybody, lots of other people in that period, that few hours, is holding a lot of distress.
Yeah, that didn't enter my head.
Most people will hold this, okay, it's coming, okay, we're saying goodbye. It's like the people that do at the airport, like, if you're dropping family off to the airport, or whoever off to your airport, your best friend's going, whatever. I'm the drop on the curb kind of a lady. Okay, bye, love you, see ya.
This is definitely helping, because a number of things have happened since that I just haven't been able to get my head around.
But if you are worried about, so I drop it off the airport because there's no point in prolonging the distress of a goodbye. An uncertain goodbye is the worst kind.
Okay.
I don't care if it's like, I do care. Sometimes when you do things like, you say goodbye, I went away without the kids, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Your viewers do too. I went away, and I know I'm coming back in 3 weeks, and so there's an element of distress, because what if something bad goes on?
Okay, I understand.
But it's 3 weeks. I know that. When I say goodbye to my dad, it could be years.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That makes sense.
So there's an escalated distress in not distress as such, this discomfort in the goodbye happens. We do well when we're separated. You and your mom, you do well when you're separated. But when you're together and then you're going back to separation, there's a part of that from a mom perspective that's really hard to do.
It's interesting you say it like that, because it was so important to me that it went well and that I got my hug because of the what ifs, because what if something happens to her and I haven't seen her, what if, that was playing on me. And I but I guess I didn't, like, because they were hungry and my sister and the kids were sort of walking ahead of us and me and Mum were behind her and she was walking funny and clearly not paying any attention to me, and I was trying to talk to her and I was like, do you not want to hear what I'm saying, right? And I asked her and she's like, oh, I just, want to get to where we're going, want to make sure I'm following. And I was like, you realise I know where we're going,
So
like,
she
we're
wants
fine.
to make sure it all goes fine, is what I'm reading there.
Not
much like you, because...
Well, shit didn't go fine.
Why?
So, lunch, I guess now that I'm thinking about it back, now that we're sort of talking about it, lunch, for example, took forever to come out. And at one point, I got up to ask, right? And my mum was like, ugh. And I was like, it's quite ridiculous now. And I had to leave by a certain time. I had to get to my appointment. Anyway, we had lunch. That was fine. We went back into the plaza. I had thought we'd go to Kmart and walk around and stuff. Yeah. And my sister's going, oh no, we're not going to do that until you've left because we don't want to be rushed. And I'm like, I'm not leaving for 50 minutes. Like, I'm confused. So anyway, I'm just like, I'll do whatever. The whole point is that I just want to be with my mum. And anyway, we go into Target and then I start getting notifications on my phone from bank. Fraud was coming through, right? So I called the bank and I got through and then they were like, call me back. And there was all these fraudulent charges on my card. And obviously the card had to be cancelled. It was all in America and shit, yeah.
Terrible.
And I guess now that we're, looking back and having you said what you've said, it sort of makes more sense in I guess I wasn't quite where I calmly wanted to be because it was, I was already...
Got some stress happening.
To be told by my sister that we can't go to Kmart because an hour is not long enough. It was clearly like they were making me, I really felt like the fact that my car had been with the tyre, like it was all me. I'd ruined their day. I'd done this,
But now we're talking about it. Now what else could it be?
Like you said, go and go home, goodbye. And my friend had said that to me because I'll tell you what happened. Anyway, and obviously I've looked back at this so many times and I can see that I was in the wrong too, but it takes two of us. But I was trying to talk to my mum about the card and my phone's on hold and there's so much going on. And then she starts saying something like, oh, I get these phone calls all the time. And I, in all fairness, I did interrupt her and I was like, oh, a spam phone call's different to literal charges, yeah? And I don't know, it was obviously a lot going on in the moment. And the next thing I knew, she just said something like, I don't want to speak to you. I never want to speak to you again. I cannot wait to leave. I will never come back. In the middle of Target. And I just couldn't breathe in that instant. And I walked out and I was still on hold, right? And I was trying everything in the world not to cry. Mind you, at lunch we'd had a conversation about my niece, who's a very highly sensitive person who cries. And I was trying to get my sister and mum to understand there are people like me who are extra sensitive. And they're like, yeah, but we got to make her get resilient, stronger in this. And I was like, agree, I'm resilient, I've gone through a lot, but I'm still an extra sensitive person. There are those of us like that.
You can be both sensitive and resilient.
That's what I think. Anyway, I was fighting the tears, and I tried to go back in and talk to her and she just wouldn't have it. And then obviously my sister had seen me leave. I walked out and tears started coming. I got so disorientated, I went the wrong way. I had to come back. I saw her standing outside of Target and my sister and the kids sort of just in, and I really, really needed, I wanted to speak, all I wanted was my hug, all I wanted was my mom. Ironically enough, when I'm breaking into a million pieces, it's my mom I cry for. And I went up to her and I didn't even get as close as you and I are, and she goes, oh, you're crying again. You're always fucking crying. And we're in the middle of a plaza. And I was like, Mum, please don't let this be like this. I'm like, we've had a great time and I love you and I just want it to be okay. And it wasn't okay. And I really broke at this point, yeah. And then I beelined it to the car. And then the bank answered. I was in such high distress. The bank literally was saying, are you safe? Are you okay? Do we need to send people? Like, it was that bad.
Well,
yeah.
I'm glad they asked you.
I got through it all. And my sister messaged me saying, you know, should we come out to the car? And I've taken Valium by this point, and I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't stop crying. And I was trying to get a hold of Eden, and I was just... And I was like, I want to say goodbye. I want to say goodbye. Mind you, this was the last time I was seeing them as well. And I couldn't stop crying. And my sister was like, I can't have the kids seeing that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I want to see Mum. And I was broken in a way that I haven't been in years. Yeah.
Also, the first time in a lot of years you've had to say goodbye to your mom.
This exact thing happened the last time she was here.
Mm-hmm.
And different plaza. Now there's two of them. So they come out, and I'm trying. And I come out, and I give my sister a hug, and I give the kids a hug, and I whisper in the ear that I'm so sorry. Yeah? And then I went to give my mum a hug, and she sort of just did and it broke me again. Yeah? Because all I wanted was that hug. Now, like, I hadn't thought of it as a distressing thing until you've said it, but it was so important to me because of this irrational fear that something's going to happen to my mum, and that'll be the last time I have her. So my sister puts the kids in the car, and I'm crying to this whole other level, to like psychiatric help level, yeah? And my sister is saying to my mum, talk to her. You can't leave her like this. You're the mother. Be a mother. Talk to her. And my mum...
And a lovely compassion from your sister.
My mum was like, why? What's the point? I don't want to. All of which I could hear. And my sister's like, talk to her. And I'm just crying because I can hear her saying, I don't want to talk to her. Yeah? And she opens the passenger side door. And she just goes at me. And then she starts bringing up everything of when she's been with me. All the, I don't want to hear about this person. I don't want to hear about that person. I'm never going to meet that person. Why do I give a fuck about this? And I was like, it's got nothing to do with them. They're a part of my life, and I'm telling you my life. And this is over the 3 weeks she's been with me, mind you. All this stuff's coming up. And she's talking, and she's just telling me that it's always on me, and that I couldn't let her talk, and that, you know, I'm the one with all these issues, and obviously I've always got to cry, and everything was my fault, right? And she just kept going and going, and it just kept getting worse, to the point where I was like, I had to get away. So the last time I seen my mum in person, she told me she never ever wanted to see me again. And I've got 30 plus years of living with this, and you'd think it wouldn't affect me, but it does. But I managed to get from where I was parked to another car park, and I had to park, and I couldn't get a hold of Eden, and I had to drive, and so I made a video because I had to do something, and I needed help because I needed to drive and I couldn't see, and it was to the point where it was so dangerous. There was no way I was going to be able to drive in that state, and the Valium wasn't helping, and I was too scared to take a Xanax because I've never tried to mix the two, and I've never driven on Xanax, and I wasn't willing to do that, and I knew I needed to see Elaine. And so I made this video, which I can't watch. It's up online, obviously. And I've talked about it in videos since it's saying I appreciate some people might find it weird that I've made a video that's currently online that I haven't seen. Truthfully, I haven't seen many of them, but there's different reasons. But I share because it's real life, and that was real. I obviously filmed my my doctor's appointment. I made it with just enough time. Eden stayed on the phone the whole way with me to keep me safe. I burst into tears the second I saw her, Elaine.
What did she say?
Same, she gave me an example of her family, told me that her, they're Chinese parents, and that the last time she saw her, I think it was her father-in-law or mother-in-law or something, like she opened the door and the first thing they said to her was, "You're fat, and what the fuck is wrong with your hair?"
I think that the other thing that happens with people, so there's an awkwardness. Now, don't get me wrong, sounds like Elaine and I have a lot of experience with overseas family. And we've found ways of managing it differently. So now we just skip the awkwardness, otherwise it usually turns into
That's
conflict.
what she said. She was like water off a duck's back.
Because what happens in relationships when there's going to be a distance is that people create distancing.
That makes no sense.
If you think about long-term, long distance relationships, often they don't work because eventually when you're leaving, you create conflict.
True.
Because people make space, like they force a distance to psychologically protect themselves from the difficulty of the distance. In relationships, with family, whatever, we create conflict so that it's almost like it's okay that you're leaving because I'm pissed at you anyway.
I get it. Believe you me, I wish it was like you and Elaine.
Well, but we've got a lot of experience with it. Many, many, many times has this happened to both of us. I think that, you and your mom don't have the same level of experience and so you're creating the distance because it's uncomfortable to leave. And so then there's the conflict. The conflict makes it okay to leave. I've
been saying for 20 years that I've lived in this country, there's an ocean between me and my mother for a reason.
I know.
I love my mum to pieces, but it was the first time we'd had a holiday where
it's been okay.
Yeah.
That's made it even probably more likely that at the end there'd be a fight.
And that's what one of my friends said. Kathy said that because I was messaging my group chat and I was just like, because the following day she left and I just kept waiting to see if she'd message me. But I knew
Have you heard from her since she left?
Yeah, absolutely. I messaged her the day she left because she's terrified of flying. So I wanted to do the right thing.
How's it been since?
My mum is absolutely fine and is literally this day didn't happen.
Because she's created the distance. Psychologically, it's safer for her to leave. It's not going to break her to leave the country because, the best trips are the hardest ones to end.
Well,
and then you go back to the status quo, being how we live in separate countries, and that's how it is.
Well, that will explain it then, because I haven't been it just feels like this massive thing happened that affected me so bad. It's not at once being spoken about, and because it was all in person, it's not on the texts. As I said, the Friday I messaged her saying, have a safe trip, blah, blah, blah. She messaged me back like everything was fine. Ever since then, it's just been literally like it didn't happen. She's excited to come see me on my new place, and this is that, and everything else, and life's great, and I'm so happy that you're okay. And
the hardest endings are for the greatest trips.
That helps somewhat because it's
it's about saying goodbye. The goodbye is really hard, so we make it easier to say goodbye.
That's what Kathy said. She was like, there's a good chance she had a lot of stuff going on with her when she was leaving, and
she's leaving her kids and her grandchildren. It's very hard.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And then you question the whys and the whats, and then you probably think to yourself, well, maybe I shouldn't, but then what have I got here? And maybe it's not so great, and let me create some problems because I got to get on a plane, and getting on the plane's really hard.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. This is why therapy is awesome, FYI. So,
because we give our opinions. No, just joking. Don't do.
No, because it's
Don't
because
do
you
that.
can talk, just like talking to my friends is very different to talking to you.
Yeah.
Like,
So
obviously.
I do think though that with relationships, to create, you know, like I don't know, like I had a guy this morning come in and talk about his workplace, right? And he had somebody quit. He owns a company. He had somebody quit, and he's like, you just let them go. Like straight away, as soon as they do, like they finish what they're doing, you don't give them new work in that last month because no, it's just going to create problems.
Yeah, good point.
Everybody gets upset, and then you're just like waiting around. Who on their very last day even at work stays until 5 o'clock?
Yeah, good point.
Like at some point, you're just like, that's it, I'm going.
Yeah, I hear you.
Even if it's the best job, see you later.
That makes
because
sense.
you've got to get out in a like safe way, and you protect yourself from that icky goodbyes.
It's interesting, yeah. That knowing, I guess that actually really does help because
We do it at work, so why wouldn't we do it with people we love?
True. I didn't even think of it like that. And I mean, it's not like I don't have experience in this, and she is good. She's messaging me all the time, and everything's great, and she's excited about me getting to where I'm going. And
let's look at this trip as probably still, even though it didn't end greatly, still probably one of the most successful trips that you and your mom have had for your relationship for many, 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 many years.
The most successful one, in all fairness.
So for the entire trip, except for that one bit, great.
Yeah, well, that's a really good reframe because I hadn't been thinking of it like that.
The best trips are the hardest ones to walk away from.
That does make sense.
It doesn't mean that the work that you've done before and during this trip hasn't positively affected your now relationship.
Yeah. Well, my family, so...
How about your sister?
My father and stepmother are in the country. They arrived the day before my sister and niece's birthday. I tried to contact my sister to call and video for my niece and her. Got nothing back. I messaged and I was like, you know, what are you doing to celebrate? He's going out for dinner. And she was like, yeah, we will be. And obviously, you know, my father and stepmother are here and they'll be with them. And I just automatically assumed that obviously I'd be invited. And then I remember it was Saturday morning and I messaged Eden and I was like, what do you reckon? I was like, I'll put money on it. I'm not invited. So I messaged my sister and I was like, what's happening with dinner? And she's like, what do you mean, what dinner? And I was like, you said you guys were going out. And I was like, you know, when, because they stayed with her for the whole weekend. And I was like, you know, when did they get there? This was around 11 o'clock in the morning. And she's like, they're already here. They've been here already. And I was like, okay, what's happening? And she goes, oh, it's not a celebration dinner. I was like, today's the only day I can see all of yous. Like, I'm busy. And obviously they didn't know I'd be in the state because originally I thought I wouldn't be here. So they've obviously got their all plans sorted out. And obviously if they're with my sister for the full weekend and they were all going out to dinner on Saturday, to me it made sense to go and say goodbye to everyone. So when I messaged my sister and I wasn't invited, I then asked if I could go, right? And was told, no, this is how we've always done it. And we want our time with them. And I really want to say I was shocked, and I feel like it's two simultaneous feelings at once because I feel like I cannot believe her, and yet I can at the same time. I literally messaged her saying, I have no other day I can see you. I'm going to be leaving the state, and they're in the country for however many days, and tonight is the only time I can come, and I'm not welcome. And I wasn't welcome. And in that moment, I realize exactly what she thinks of me. And that's okay. It's okay.
I don't know if that's actually about you.
I don't know that it is either, but
I think it's more that that's how she functions.
Yeah, but they
It's
messaged
her
me
problem.
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They were still with my sister, because mind you, she wanted their time at the restaurant, even though they were there for the entire weekend.
Yep.
Today was the only day they messaged me to see if they could see me. And I was like, I'm busy all day. I've got things on. I was like, I told her yesterday on the Saturday, I said, I don't understand why I wasn't invited to dinner. I said, not only was I not invited, but I actually asked to come, right? And this is like feeling really like deja vu to me, because I very much feel like I've had this fucking thing happen before with my sister. Not only was I not invited, when I asked to attend, all I had to do was drive to and from the restaurant, spend a couple hours, would have got to see my father and stepmother, would have got to say goodbye to my sister and the kids. Everything would have been fine, but I wasn't welcome. To the point where I literally messaged her saying, I honestly cannot believe you. This is the only day, and you are choosing to make me not be included. You are choosing to make it so that I cannot see them or any of you before I leave. And she was absolutely fine with that choice. Honest to God, as far as I'm concerned, I do not feel like I have a fucking sister. And I know that's extreme. Blame it on the fucking BPD right now. I don't care. Yeah? But that hurt almost as much as what happened with my mum.
That part's true. The hurt part's true.
And again, I'm not going to get to see them. She obviously didn't tell them. And I sent him a message saying exactly what happened.
So
I asked to come. I asked. Juice is coming tomorrow before work to help me put the roof thing back up.
Mm-hmm.
The only appointment I can get with Elaine is Monday, a week from now.
Yep.
And I very much need scripts and stuff.
Okay. And when does your dad leave the country?
No idea, but today's the last day down here because I've got stepbrothers and sisters in Bendigo, well, stepbrother and whatever the family up there, and then they've got family up in Queensland. I won't be seeing it. I didn't think I'd be seeing them anyway because I thought it'd be in Queensland, but that's not
Still,
the point.
It's disappointing. You're allowed to be disappointed.
I'm just like, as far as I'm concerned, little orphan Livy, fucking hell.
Well, I
But,
wouldn't say that. I'd say that without, your dad probably sounds like he's trying to make everybody happy.
I haven't heard back from him since I sent the message.
He's trying to keep everybody happy and didn't expect to see you, so maybe isn't going to keep you happy. Your sister
needs therapy herself.
But also is protecting her patch a bit.
She can do what she needs to do. I'm leaving the fucking state and I'm over the moon. But in regards to actually leaving,
next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest because it'll be put on my roof tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
then you're going to take your time.
Exactly, because first of all, and that's another thing that hit me, I kept thinking I've got to do it all at once, but I don't.
You really don't.
No. So I'm really happy about that in that regard. And I have magic mushrooms at home.
Don't do that and drive.
Of course I'm not doing that and driving.
And don't do that and then be out on the road by yourself asleep in a car.
I'm going to do it at home tomorrow. Okay? Yes.
Okay, why?
I'm
Why
not
do you
sure why
have
you
magic
ask me
mushrooms at
questions like that.
Why you have magic mushrooms at home? Like you went out foraging in the park or
Fuck
something?
no, I've been trying to figure out how to do that forever. I've been trying to get my hands on magic mushrooms for so long. I think I've had them at home for about a year, in all fairness.
Ew.
They're dried and they're fine. Okay? I'm not promoting it. I've done all the research I can. There are literal studies. Like,
small amounts at a time.
yeah, I'm not. I'm
It's
wanting to
not your
have
first
a
rodeo, I know.
I want to have a spiritual trip, but I don't want to. You should see her face. I wouldn't do it if I thought it was going to be dangerous. Put it to you that way. Yeah, and
Don't get your house too hot before you do it.
the only reason I haven't done it is because I've been researching to make sure I do it properly.
Okay. Have plenty of water.
I will make sure it's all set up. But the point is, I was going to take them with me and do it up in the nature, and that's one of the only rules up there. No drugs but weed. Weed doesn't count. So I figure I'll do it before I leave.
Whose rule is no drugs but weed?
Sammy's the person who owns the house.
I was like,
Yeah, weed doesn't count. Oh my God, speaking of which, I got my new, so I went to get my weed prescription filled for my weed vape, the new liquid ones. I was going to bring them to show you, but I'll take a photo. Anyway, I don't know if I think it was after I would have seen you, perhaps. They told me I couldn't have it, right?
Why?
The TGA has changed the laws, and people with bipolar are no longer allowed to be prescribed cannabis unless they have all this paperwork stating that they're safe and stable. So mine was all cancelled, and then I immediately obviously went to Elaine and my psychiatrist and was like, please give me some paperwork. Like, I'm going to continue smoking.
And they were like, what's this?
So no,
because no one told anybody.
Well, actually, this is interesting. Probably a good thing I tell you. Come to think of it, my psychiatrist does not believe I have bipolar, and he wrote it on the paperwork. So he was like, "I'm Olivia's treating psychiatrist."
I don't think you have bipolar.
I don't think so either.
I never thought you had bipolar.
So, I unfortunately think the whole fucking anorexic thing might. I really don't want to say that I am anorexic because look at me. But then again, you could be whatever size and be anorexic. Exactly when you were away, I got diagnosed with anorexia again.
Oh, by who?
The psychiatrist.
Why?
He said, because he asked me a whole bunch of questions.
Restricting?
Not on purpose, no. Not at the time, but it was the medication, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And I was really struggling, and so that wasn't that side, so I wasn't restricting, but he started asking me questions about if you get to this size, how will you feel, and if you do, and then he asked all these questions, and all my answers that I provided basically said that I'm anorexic.
You have thought processes about control with food, but you don't engage in restriction or compensatory behaviors.
Yeah, which is a good thing you said that, because I had that conversation with myself this morning after I stood on my scales, right? And could not believe the fucking number, because I thought it was going to be less, and it was way more, and being 58 and a half, mind you, right? So, and the first thought I had was, damn, I'm not happy about that. And then the second thought I had was, well, I'm not restricting. I know why. I'm literally eating entire blocks of chocolate at night with bags of popcorn and crap. So it's just not being healthy. That's what that is. And it's not like I stood on the scales and then freaked out about how I looked. Do you know what I mean?
You didn't then go for a 10K run and only eat celery for 3 weeks.
No, exactly. So in that sense. But anyway.
Not that that's what happens. But,
no, I know. But
yeah, but you're not engaging in any of the behaviors.
Yes, which is good.
You do have thoughts around it, but they're not.
That's why I don't think I've got it.
I wouldn't have gone so far as to make a formal diagnosis.
Oh, I don't think he's given me the formal one, so to speak. He was just like, there are definitely, like what you're saying, thoughts there. But I said to him, I'm aware of my thoughts, but I'm also aware of how it works, and I'm not acting on them. Exactly. Right. Believe you me, I still go home and eat a block of chocolate. Coconut Rough is my favourite, and it's on sale at Woolworths. Right. And I was just like, hell's yeah. No. But so we filled out all the paperwork, and in the long run it worked out well, because the company I was with for the cannabis, I'd never actually used them before, because they were very clearly just a business, and they couldn't have cared less about the health side of stuff. It was just money. Mm-hmm. Whereas when it all fell apart and then I had to get the paperwork, I joined a new company that's actual doctors who go through the different strains. They really talk about it. So I had a full-on consultation with them, and I decided to get the liquid THC vapes, which I've never used before. And I absolutely fucking love them. I will not be going back to bud after this.
Wow.
I know, right? The only time I reckon I'll smoke bud is while I'm with Sammy on a social occasion, smoking a joint. But when it actually comes to it, these vapes, unbelievable. But anyway, on Saturday, I must have mixed them up. And I'm also on, I have to get pain. My pain is insane. I took endone before I got here. That's how bad it is. Yeah. Hadn't thought of it being that, come to think of it, but it might be actually added to it, because the pain levels are excruciating. When you're stressed, what does
your body do?
Tense. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I've been really sort of even in the now more lately,
Yeah.
and stretching and doing all the stuff and whatever. But yeah, like my pain levels are high, and I don't know, I must have taken a couple and then smoked one of my vapes and then another vape. And the next thing I knew, I was trying to write the description for my video, and I was like, I'm a different kind of high. That's literally what the title is. I'm a different kind of high. Can't write now. I felt like I was floating, and it was amazing. It was the fucking best thing I think I've ever felt. Yeah? It was so fun. I was like, I want to be like this all the time.
Can you get scripts online? Or
Yeah, so it's...
And access at pharmacies along the way is going to be...
Oh, no, they get sent to you. So I've got, they give you a month at a time.
Yeah.
But like I was prescribed 3 different types of bud and the vapes. But because I've already got bud, didn't really see the point of spending money on that. I wanted to try the vape. So I only purchased those. And the cartridges are about this big. They're 109 each, and then you got to buy the battery pack vape thing that comes with it, which are 40 each. So because I got 2 strains, I bought 2 of the things, so I'd be able to tell them apart.
Yeah.
But since like I will be honest and say, totally different to anything I've ever experienced. Like 1 second puff, and I was coughing my lungs out. I was like, this is so different, but obviously I've had them for a week now, so I'm used to them. Very easily, the best things to use for pain, because like 1 or 2 seconds, it helps, but it doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
If you smoke them the way I did on Saturday, that's a whole different story, but that was a different thing.
You're just testing it.
Yeah. But, yeah, I feel so much better now. Gosh.
That's the whole point.
It is the whole point. Thank you. Thank you.
Great.